right now. Pittsburgh's best sports show is about to begin. Call us or tweet us. We've got things to talk about on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call.
Good evening, everyone. Bob Pompeani here with you until 11 o'clock, all by myself. So give me a call and keep me company here. Your opinions about sports. Always a lot to talk about. 412-575-2600 is the number to call. You can hit me up on Twitter. It's at KDPomp. And the NCAA tournament came and went from Pittsburgh. It moves on, but a really great showing by the people of Pittsburgh, all the people who came into town. We saw some really good games, including last night, a doubleheader, and both games needed overtime. Double overtime in the second overtime to get it done, or the second game to get it done. When Creighton and the Blue Jays, man, they just they survived at the end of regulation, got a chance in overtime, and then in the second overtime they outscored Oregon 15-2 to put that one away. So pretty good games for sure, and we saw some outstanding performances. DJ Burns Jr. from North Carolina State was terrific down low in the post. He went 9 for 12 against Oakland, and you know Oakland was going to fire up the three like they've done. Jack Goldkey, who became an overnight sensation with 10 threes in the elimination game against Kentucky, he had 6 more last night. But quite frankly, it was just too much of the down low play that made the difference in that game, and Burns burned them. And so NC State and Clemson, 2 teams in the ACC, now moved on to the Sweet 16. And quite frankly, I think Pitt could have matched up. They beat NC State twice. I know they had problems with Clemson, but the bottom line is Pitt, looking at this field and how things transpired, they really did get robbed in this tournament. Duquesne, on the other hand, we talked about what they've done, and Keith Dambrot really laid the foundation here and did something that hasn't been done in 47 years. So he leaves on that high note, even though they got blown out last night by Illinois. And, bottom line is, it looks like Drew Joyce is going to be that man. He's on that staff. He has ties to LeBron James. And you would think that Dave Harper, the athletic director, and the university would be okay with that hire. It's just a matter of time. So we'll see what happens with that one. But some great games throughout the tournament, some blowouts as you would expect, but they head to the Sweet 16. If you'd like to talk about that, please call 412-575-2600. But the big news here today was the way the Penguins collapsed. The last time they blew a lead was actually the same 4-0 lead. Well, I'm talking about 4 goals or more. 4 goals back in 2022 against Detroit when they had a 4-0 first period lead, lost 5-4 in overtime. Well, same thing here. It was 2-0 after one, 4-0 late in the second. They gave up a couple of goals, and then they lose it in overtime 5-4. And the Penguins just don't know how to play with a lead. They can't stand prosperity. They got to change their style a little bit. You can't keep playing the same way. Sure, you want to possess the puck, but you also got to make it difficult for teams that want to come back and get back into the game. And if you trade shot for shot and open things up and you create odd man breaks and better opportunities, you're going to pay the price, especially against a team like Colorado, because they got some sharp shooters on that team. Rantanen is a guy who's just terrific at what he does, and of course McKinnon with 44 goals now, over 120 points. That's a team that could win the Stanley Cup championship in the West. It's going to be challenging in the West, no doubt. Meantime, the Penguins come home, and now they're going to take on Carolina Tuesday night. That'll be the return of Jake Gensel. So it will be interesting. And ever since he's gone there, he's been on fire in his first 7 games, 2 goals, 9 assists, 11 points for the Carolina Hurricanes. They look like they're a team that can make a run here all the way to the end as well. So we'll see how that goes. In the meantime, West Virginia has a new basketball coach as well as Darren DeVries out of Drake University. Guy who's really been around for a while, 732 win percentage at Drake. He's got 3 NCAA tournament appearances, and West Virginia will go with him after a terrible season, which featured only 9 wins for the entire year. I believe it was 9-23. So we have a lot to get into. 412-575-2600. The Steelers are down at the owners' meetings. Mike Tomlin talked to the reporters who were there in Orlando, Florida, and he basically said what I think we all know is they need help on the offensive line and a wide receiver. Those would be the 2 most pressing needs, and I wonder if you get an opportunity to get one or both in the first round, what do you do? Do you take a wide receiver over, say, a center or a tackle, or do you go the other way around? So it will be one of the priorities for the Steelers as they head into the April draft. 412-575-2600. That's the number. Want to hear from you. Next, right here, it's the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. We're live on KDKA Plus and 93.7 The Fan. Our GMC Sierra tweet of the night is something I saw and I posted from ESPN. They did a shot chart, and this is Jack Golke. Nobody knew who he was coming in here. I mean, X's and O's people who follow Oakland basketball, this is Oakland, Michigan, by the way, knew what he did, but you didn't expect it to this degree. 347, this is for the whole season. Look at this shot chart. 347 shots from three, only 8 in the paint and inside of that three-point arc. And that was phenomenal. He had 10 for 20 against Kentucky and pretty much single-handedly took them out of the tournament, which is March Madness in a nutshell right there. 412-575-2600. Now let's move to the phone lines. And we got a lot of people who would like to talk. We'll begin with JB, is it, in Shadyside? What's up, JB? How are you?
What's up, Paul?
Hey,
how are you?
I'm good. What's going on?
Okay. Yeah, two things. Obviously, Pitt, totally got jobbed. The committee should really be ashamed.
Yeah, the ACC isn't losing so far, and they beat half the teams in that field.
Yeah, they would have done well, too. The other thing is Crosby should be traded. He should want to be traded because it's really kind of sad to watch him in this way go down like this. He could go somewhere and win another cup or two.
Well, I think if anything like that happened,
Edmonton.
He has a year left on a contract, so it's going to be up to him when they approach him. I know that he wants to be here, certainly. He's been here his whole career, and I think he takes pride in that. But I also think if anything like that would happen, it would have to be him who makes the move. He'd have to go to them and say, look, I want a new start. I only have a few years left. That's up to him. I don't know that you're going to see that. I think he believes that they still can win here. But that's going to be the challenge for Kyle Dubas in this offseason. What do? He has a lot of roadblocks in front of him, a lot of potholes to try to get around in the form of no trade clauses, big contracts, guys who aren't playing as they once did. When you look at teams like the Penguins, and when you hear Mike Sullivan after the game talk about their effort, and he kept talking about the effort's fine. It's not about effort at this point. It's either number one, lack of structure when you have a lead, or number two, and especially on the power play, that could be coaching as well, or players not listening to coaching. And number two, it's just maybe the players aren't good enough. And that's the way age is. As you get older, you're not as good as you once were. I think if I look back at this trade for Erik Karlsson, I understood why it was done, because they had to get rid of some contracts that were ballooned, and they needed some freedom there, even though they brought in a lot with him. But he's not been anywhere near what I thought. He made a terrible mistake on the one goal today in the third period. He just went backhand, forehand, gave it up in the slot, and then he provided a screen on his own goaltender. It was just not a good play. And every time you want to think he's bringing something good, there's something bad to talk about. Ryan Graves has not been good. He should be better next year, year two here, because he's not going anywhere, you would think, at a 6-year, $27 million contract. So they got a lot of work to do to try to get better in a conference, specifically in a division, that is not getting anything but better. Philadelphia was not supposed to be this good, and they are ahead of schedule. Tortorella did a very good job with them. You know what Carolina has? The Rangers. I think the Devils are an up-and-coming team still. They're not as good as they once were. And even Washington brought up some young guys. They traded at the deadline to acquire things, and yet here they are still playing pretty good. A lot of work for the Penguins, and it will be very interesting. All right, let's go to Joe in Verona. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Hey, Bob, listen, one question. Is the Pirates going to keep Jones, the pitcher?
I hope so. They haven't said that yet, but yeah, Jared Jones, he's been terrific. Over 100 miles an hour, he looks poised. And Lord knows they need the help in the starting pitching. What we saw today from Martin Perez was very encouraging. He's been this way all spring. He's got an 0.60 ERA. He had Yankee hitters off balance. He's going to be a good player, and he was last year. For the Rangers. So I would think that Marco Gonzalez has not had a good spring. Will he be better? You would think so. And you know what Mitch Keller will give you. Then the question is, who beyond that? Can you expect other guys to step up? Like you mentioned, Jared Jones, also Quinn Priester. Can he be consistent enough to be up here? Can he, Roansy Contreras still has the same problems. He's wild, he walks a lot of guys, and so does Luis Ortiz. These are guys they were counting on. Skeens will be up here eventually. But to be honest with you, Paul Skeens is one of their best 5 starters right now. He should be here by rights. He won't be because of the way they play the game, and I get it. But if you're trying to win now is now, and he's ready, I think, now. Maybe I'm premature in this. We'll see how he does in AAA, but at some point he's going to be up here. 412-575-2600. We have Dick in Allison Park. What's up, Dick? How are you?
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Is there been any definitive reason why Pitt declined the NIT? I've heard two stories. One, to get a jump on recruiting in the portal, and two, the team vote. I'll hang up and listen to your answer.
Well, to me, I would do it regardless. Coaches talk about playing experience, opportunities. Pitt would have been probably a 1 seed. They could have played 2 games at the Peterson Event Center and then head to Madison Square Garden, most likely. That's experience. And even if, you're Bub Carrington and you don't want to play, don't then. They have other guys who should play. What's wrong with that experience? I would have taken it. I always take those opportunities if I was a guy like any head coach who wants playing time. That's the best experience you can get in critical, situations. And even though critical is a word used loosely with the NIT, my point is these are game opportunities. You don't get many of them. So I would have taken it all the time. And if guys don't want to play, then don't play. The ones who want to will. And I'll go from there because I need the experience from some of these young guys. It's still a very young team. As far as recruiting, how many assistant coaches do they have? You don't think you can do both at the same time? You should be able to. Let's go out to Bud in Brentwood. What's up, Bud?
Hey, Bob. I would like to ask you a question about Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
Yep, go ahead.
Do you think Russell Wilson will be cut if Justin Fields beats him in the preseason?
No, first of all, it's going to be hard for him to beat anyone in the preseason just because of the preseason. Russell Wilson will play some, but he's a veteran. He won't play a lot. So I can't imagine him having a disastrous, first pregame opportunity. He'll look fine. No, they're not going to. They're going to have those 2, and they're going to add on to it. You need 4 in training camp. You need 3 for the regular season, so they will draft someone. Those 2 are here. And then at the end of the year, you'll see what happens. If Russell Wilson plays very well, then he's going to want paid a lot more money than he's going to be making this year on a $1.2 million thing for the Steelers, but $39 million for Denver. He's going to want the same sort of money, $40 million. Will they be willing to do that, you would think? If not, then you have Justin Fields. He may not play all that much. I still believe if I'm them, I would have a specialized package for him. He's too talented not to. He's going to get his opportunities. Injury happens. We'll see what he does with him. And then you have to make decisions at the end of the season. Mike Tomlin, by the way, did speak today down in Orlando, Florida, and he pretty much said it was Kenny Pickett's decision to leave, and they tried to accommodate him. That's not a direct quote. That's what I took from that comment, that Pickett wanted a fresh start. Let's go to Kevin in Verona. Kevin, thank you for calling. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Bob. How you doing?
All right. What's up, Kevin?
All right. So I want to talk to you about our lovely goalie, Jari. His percentage rate is really bad. He's not stopping the goals we need. It's just not good.
I don't think it's as bad as you think. Of their problems, Kevin, he's down middle of the list for me. There are so many other problems. I thought, generally speaking, for $5 million, that is below what a lot of goaltenders make. And I think he's been streaky. I think there have been times when he's looked bad, no question. But you can say that to just about every goaltender in the NHL. So, no, I don't think that's their biggest problem is, number one, their power play, their age on this team, and the fact that they can't move a lot of guys because of no trade clauses. I don't know what you're going to do. There's not an influx of talent coming from Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. So what do? You got to get younger, and guys have got to play. Now, they acquired a couple of guys in that Gensel trade, in addition to Michael Bunting, who, by the way, I like. He gives them a little different element around the net. They got to play some of these guys. You only have 12 games left. Bring them up, play them, see what you got, get a head start. Let's go to Judy in Derry. Hey, Judy, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Good. Thanks for calling.
Yes. My question is, why don't we have a professional basketball team?
I just think it's different.
Is there any interest?
I think there's interest, but I think winning teams get the attention and get the corporate support. I think, some franchise that comes in here as a relocated one or an expansion with not a lot of help to it, it's tough to watch. I don't know if you could sell it. And you need corporate backing to make this all possible. I just think it's difficult in this size of a city to do that. I'd love to see it personally. Maybe you do too, because I think it's pretty electrifying. If you get a chance, you can check out my Instagram feed if you would like, because you'll see it there. But if not, just go and do a little search for Victor Wembanyama. He is with San Antonio. He's 7'5", and he dribbles like a guard, and he made some plays, and guys breaking ankles. He's spectacular, and I'd like to see more and more players like that. You know, Chet Holmgren, who plays for OKC, along with one of the best players in the game right now, Gilgeous-Alexander, who's been terrific for them. 50 30-point games, one of only 5 players to do it, and he's a young kid. So OKC in the West is a team I would certainly watch as I deviate off into an NBA conversation. 412-575-2600. That's the number to call. Call us, air your opinions, and we'll do it next when we come back right here on the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call, KDKA+.